Tervetuloa seuraamaan RTV:n ohjelmasarjaa. Tätä jaksoa kuvataan Virossa, Lilleorussa, ja täällä minulla on vieraana Ingvar Villidon, ja seuraava keskustelu käydään englannin kielellä. Today I am back in Estonia, visiting in Lilleoru, where Ingvar Villidon has taught his students already 30 years so far. 2 years ago he has published a book, Practical Consciousness, which is a handbook of his teachings in English language. Lately it has been also published in his own native language, in Estonian language, finally. So, hello Ingvar, nice to meet you again here in Lilleorun.
Hello Timo, nice to see you.
So, you have been busy lately, publishing your book in Estonian language and all other stuff. So, when we will see first version in Finnish language from your book?
Actually, I don't know it, but I know people started to translate to the Finnish.
Ah, very good, very good.
Yeah, it's already on the road.
And actually, you know one Finnish publisher as well.
I know, he's sitting here.
Well, so in this interview, we will focus on your teachings. So perhaps we make a little brief for how everything started, how you start to do the teachings here in Lilleorun. Short brief.
It's happens very organically. Mm-hmm. Yeah, people just came with me to do some things here in this little land, and it just goes further. We're practicing different practices from different traditions. And then slowly it's become more precise, more maybe general for whatever kind of teachings was based on our humans' natural abilities, which are hidden. And then I start to develop them. Mm-hmm. Yeah, because people had these needs, problems, issues, different practices, and it wasn't so precise what can do with personal problems or spiritual development, and then it just start. I'm making research and then developed those techniques, and yeah, now we are here. Yeah, it's become how I say, concentrated, and some things what was maybe not so precise, they was left. Mm-hmm. And it become condensed to the book. Mm-hmm. But this is only one part of our teachings here. We have different, very efficient teachings more.
Yes, and this is what we start to talk about next. So, would you give a short description, some kind of introduction of your teachings, and let's see it like a point of a new student, that how it will be start with new student in that kind of point of view, mm-hmm. if it's okay to you.
Yes, so of course it's okay. For a new student, it begins from self-learning. Mm-hmm. We're using a lot of yogic knowledge here, and one important topic of yoga is svadhyaya. Svadhyaya means self-learning. Self-learning doesn't mean you can read a lot of books and other things, but it means you need to research what actually happens inside you. For example, how are you thinking, what is your emotions, what is your consciousness, what is your concentration, and 5 senses and other things. And just starting from normal things to recognize them, because all teaching is based on them. Mm-hmm. Yeah. because if you don't know how your structure, you have structure, it's very difficult to make some progress because you're like blind and you don't know which tools can be used to do some changes, right? And that's the beginning, yeah. But then most important tool is consciousness with 7 properties of consciousness. 7 properties is awareness. It means to be aware of something, or recognize or notice. It's actually awareness itself. Then ability to discern, to understand differences between things. Then ability to go deeper. It means to go deeper to look more smaller things, right? Then ability to understand. This is very, very important because if you understanding something, it's become your knowledge, your experience. It's instead of believing. It's absolutely practical. Then next ability is insight. How we can create or how we can use insight, because insight is very important. We call it like teacher, because if receiving something, then we start to understand. It's always like, wow, I know it, and how to do it. Then intuition and inspiration. There are 7 properties of consciousness. And most important is always consciousness, discerning and understanding. Because those teachings here is very, very practical. And people can develop themselves through understanding. Because understanding is always connected to the reality. You can use reality, but if it's theoretical or you're using something what you don't understand, then you have different consequences, different results. So maybe if I summarize it, I can say it's conscious way or smart way to understand and use our potentialities, which actually I used it. We're using them in daily life, but we don't know it. That's an interesting fact, actually. So, and yeah, if people start to know what are those tools, they can use them consciously. And of course, the results is absolutely different if you compare with common things.
If I'm thinking about a new student who wants to learn teachings, what you're teaching, and so what kind of, what is this thing which drives them to you? What they want to learn, what they want to know? What is those reasons why they're coming?
They're coming by different reasons. Some reasons are very personal. For example, some emotional problems, some problems with life, for example. Some people have problems with health. Some people are found something interesting, and then they like to become experienced of new experiences. Some of them have questions, who am I, and what is meditation, and other things. They're coming by different reasons. Those people who don't come, they don't have those questions, I think so. Or they are found these answers from somewhere else. Yeah, but the reason need to be always here, because to be just curious, it's good too, actually, because sometimes people coming because they are very curious, and then they listen it and they get it. Oh, this is real. This is real teaching, and they become interested, and then they are coming, and that's beginning for them.
Yes. So, what the new student should know when he or she is thinking that she wants to be your student? What is this person will commitment? What kind of commitment he have to do?
Those kind of persons need to understand that this is teaching. It's like school, and all things what we are teaching here, they need to be understood and practically used. Otherwise, it doesn't work. Yeah, That's first request. Second is a practice. Practice is using of knowledge to make some changes. And sometimes we need to make, changes with our dark side. People need to know it's not just fun. Sometimes it's quite difficult. But if they know tools and they can use those tools, it's actually very simple to go over those obstacles. And then they can continue. Because what is most important problem for us, this is our psychology. Yeah, which working automatically, reacting to whatever kind of things, not only to the others, but inside us too, for ourselves, and making different problems, right? And how to become free of it, it needs practice actually. I think new students, if they're coming, they need to understand knowledge plus practice, making results. It doesn't work, I think, in another way.
Is there some kind of type of person or some background, traumatic background, when this is not good for the person? Is there a situation where this facing yourself is too much?
I think persons with personal traumas can learn in same way and finally get rid of these traumas, because we don't need to carry those traumas. And those knowledges what we have here, they meant to release even those bad sides of our life. Yeah, and it actually works very well. Yeah, but of course it needs to be done. We teach people or individuals how they can do it by themselves. It's not like we don't teach therapists who can do it for other person. It's very individual, and I believe it's good because you can be therapist for yourself, right? And of course, everyone has those injuries from past. Everyone has those traumas. Yeah.
And well, you are teaching a safe way to face those traumas, that they don't explode to your face.
You know, maybe I explain a little bit deeper this topic,
please.
right? Our consciousness, you shown that book, Practical Consciousness, right? Yeah, exactly. Yeah, consciousness is always separated from experiences, always. That's the reason why people can recognize easily before they jump into the experience of things what was shown or whatever emotional or whatever. They can recognize always them before. If we prolonging that time, people become inside witness of some inner processes, and we teach to the people how they can be separated from experience without jumping inside, because jumping inside the experience, it's our choice. It's we don't know that. Actually, people don't know. I know, and students know it, but it means you can do opposite. It means you don't jump in. And then a very interesting fact coming out. It means you start to understand, oh, I have this tension or this experience, but I can be separated from it. And if you are separated, it shows actually you are not this experience, because it's your choice.
Yes.
Right. It's fact. I think everyone knows it. Right.
And you are not that motion which comes from that.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Emotions become objects to you. And then we teach you the people how they can manage emotion. In this book is full of knowledge how to do that. For example, we have one idea behind releasing of emotions. It means we know emotions are energy because they're vibrating. We can feel they moving themselves here and doing other things. And using, for example, stop technique. Stop means you giving order to the emotion and you stopping all this movement, subtle movement.
Yes.
Not in the body, but in the emotion. And you're holding this stop there, few seconds, then you're releasing it, and the emotion is gone. I think it's quite easy.
Yeah.
Yeah, if I explain
it's
it.
like saying to yourself that stop to being that emotion. You are not that.
Yes, you can say in this this way too, but it goes a little bit deeper. It means if we can recognize emotion, for example, if it just become generated, and we can suppress it after.
Yeah.
This is a very common way how people can manage this psychology, right? But if you can recognize it and you can suppress it, then you can, instead of suppressing, stop it, stop movement of this emotion. Just change a little bit your habit, right? And then you're keeping it, releasing, and you will see this emotion is gone. And next time it doesn't coming anymore. Yeah, this is how we releasing those kind of emotions without experiencing them again.
Is it kind of empty force method where you're taking energy away from that emotion?
No, we don't take it away. Yeah, it's physics. Physics says if there is some movement, it's energy always there. But if we're giving our order to the energy, stop, it means nothing change, nothing moving there inside. Energy become frozen. But energy cannot exist if it's frozen. It's undying. It's become to the state what is before movement.
Okay.
Right. This is that.
So it goes back to that what it was before that intention came and this happening, this emotion.
This emotion become to the state what we call potential.
Yeah.
It means you don't have this active emotion anymore. It's become potent, right? But it means basically in same situation or same remembering, it doesn't activate anymore because it's gone. It's not there anymore.
And you say that you just need to do it once and it doesn't come back.
Right.
And but we have a still memory.
I understood your concerns, right? Look, if I'm asking you, for example, how many times you was angry in your life? Maybe 1,000 times.
Maybe
right?
more.
Maybe more. So, and if you remember something, it means you remember, and through remembering you activating emotion, because emotions they don't coming from past. They become activated now. They are always fresh, new, because energy can't be stored in the past. So you remember some situation, you feel emotion, you release it. Now you remember another case in your life. You feel same emotion, you release it, and so on. If you go to the first case, you remember it, emotion is not there anymore. Why it's like that? Because even if it's same emotion, anger for example, it's connected to our information in our memory, and information triggering emotions. It means if from one case this emotion is released, but it's still connected to the another case where it's become activated. So that's the reason why we're releasing emotions from one specific situation one by one. And it actually, for example, that number 1,000 is very huge, right? But you can sit and release emotions, for example, to do it, I don't know, maybe 20 minutes, maybe longer, maybe shorter. And it's actually a very quick process. And it's very, very healthy process, because you can be surprised if you're going after releasing to some situation where normally you become nervous or angry. You can be surprised. You are not. Yeah.
So basically, when those emotions and memory goes to the muscles, and your body sometimes might start to tremble or do something because there is situation which wake up those memories. So this also goes to those muscle memories, and it can control them as well.
Yes, of course, and not only. For example, if we are in some same situation and we have emotions here, we have thoughts here, we have physical activities here, and if emotions are painful, they become stored like in our memory, like complex, one strong complex. Complex means memory have physical memory, emotional memory, and mental memory. And this complex is actually our psychology, or all those complexes, right? But if you're releasing emotion, then your body doesn't have any trembles, any sufferings, because emotion making influence to the physical body. Thoughts without emotions are always neutral, always. Everyone can make his own experience. For example, you're looking your problem, you start to feel emotions. Just skip emotions and look your problem, and you will see it's absolutely different. Maybe it's already resolved by excluding of emotion. So that's the reason why first we teach after mapping what happens inside. We teach how people can release emotions, because this is the real maker, real power, right?
Yes.
Which making harm for body and for our thinking and ability to understand. Because maybe people are recognized if they are emotional, their ability to understand is quite weak.
I can imagine that this is very powerful method, because when people has lots of example fears, and if you know the way how to release your fear, how to get rid of it, it will improve people's lives so much.
Oh yeah, I'm totally agree with you. And everyone can ask themselves, do I need those emotions? That bad emotions, do I need the fear? Good emotions is okay. They don't make some harm. Most of them doesn't make. But even some positive emotions can make harm too. It means we need to be somewhere between. Between, it means not so strong emotions, but they need to be, how I say, optimal for us. But bad emotions, they making or harmful emotions, or how we say it, they are dangerous not only for the person, they are dangerous to the others too. Yeah? That's our animalistic part. Yeah? In yoga, we know what is real development. Real development means always 3 steps, basically 3 steps. First, release evil from your body. Replace it with goodness.
Do you mean that evil thoughts or some energy inside, or
whatever kind of evil? Evil is always something what can make harm to person himself or for others. This is first. We say it's like a cleaning process for animalistic tendencies. The next is make goodness. Third one, start to develop your ability to understand.
Yes.
Or become wise. Yeah.
So basically, when we talk, I'm still talking about this purifying evil away from us. Sometimes we have beliefs from ourselves which is harming us. This is also evil.
Yes,
I guess.
of course.
And yes, so everything what mind might product for us is something what we can release from ourselves.
Yes, this is another topic.
Okay.
Now we are talking about emotions, but we have one specific course how to release thoughts, bad thoughts.
Yeah.
This is different. It has different understanding and different techniques. But bad thoughts without the bad emotions, they are neutral. It means evil is always can be idea, but this fuel for them is emotions. They are bad too, right? And yeah, I think you know too how much people have actually that evil inside, right? For example, if we're criticizing someone, it doesn't look like evil, right? But if we're looking at that person, we'll see this person actually have sufferings. It means it's still evil. It's not goodness.
Yeah.
Right? Just on one example, of course, fighting and attacking and anger, and it's pure evil. Yeah.
So basically, if I'm thinking about this process, in chronological order, there will be first is release your emotions, and then releasing your evil inside of you, and then thoughts. Or what is this?
Okay. I explain order to you.
Yeah.
First, learn map and compass. What actually happens inside you, right?
Yes.
Second, release bad emotions or harmful emotions, evil emotions. Third one, release thoughts which doesn't describe reality in real way. It means people have a lot of fantasies, always they're thinking about something, and there is not so much practical things. Practical things means facts. We don't thinking with facts, right? And I'm adding one deeper knowledge here. Our thoughts making our life. Why? Because if you look into your thoughts, you will see you believing your thoughts, and everything what you are doing are guided by thoughts. But are your thoughts right? Are they good guides for you or not? And sometimes if you start to analyze and look, you see it's not right? But people believe thoughts are them. It's not truth, because if you start to explore it more deeper, you will understand. I know I have thoughts. It means here is someone who knows about thoughts. Thoughts never knows about you something, and thoughts speaking always with your name. That's the first mistake. And if people don't know that, they start to believe they are thoughts. Actually not. Thoughts belongs to the memory, because they're coming always from memory. It's repeating memory, right? Because you see, sometimes people can recognize, oh, what the hell, what kind of thoughts came, so bad thoughts. We can recognize some thoughts, but we cannot recognize in this moment who is that who can recognize thoughts. But if you're recognizing that guy, you can understand this is you. This is really you, and thoughts is just additional phenomena inside our head, right?
So we are talking on observation.
Yes, this is observation. Actually, if you're asking who is that guy inside who observing,
Yes.
it's not thoughts. Yeah. For example, vipassana practice, people maybe know what it is. It's just observing. Yeah. But we're talking here not only just observing, but we're talking about active action to release emotions, to release thoughts, and etc. Right?
Yes.
Yeah. After thoughts, we have fourth part or step. How to develop properties of consciousness. That is interesting, actually, because we're using all those properties. I mentioned them before, but how to develop them without thinking? That's the question. But if I'm looking closely all those qualities of consciousness, I can easily understand this is base for Homo sapiens, because that ability to understand and that wise part of us is there. It's not on the thoughts and emotions, it's there. And fifth step is acting with all previous techniques and cleaning process, development of properties of consciousness, and finally it becomes state of flow. I think people know what the state of flow.
Yeah.
Right. So, and for me, state of flow is normal action of humans. But it cannot be in our life normal because we have different psychological reactions, different emotions, thoughts, and we cannot use our properties of consciousness consciously. And that's the reason why we sometimes have a state of flow. But it needs to be, or it can be like normal state of us. And it's very efficient, very objective, very ecological, maybe economical, and other things, you know. Yeah.
Yes. So this flow is probably now our gateway to the next question, because in your teachings, yoga has a really big and important role. Would you tell about more?
Yoga is something what everyone knows what is yoga actually, but actually maybe they don't know it.
They're just thinking that they know.
Yeah. For example, I'm explaining to you about practical consciousness. Practical consciousness can be easily said yoga too. Why? Because yoga means two things. First is yogic technology, or technology by itself. It's like path, it's complex knowledge, and result of it. Result is emerging to the God himself. Why? Because we came from him. We came to the life, it's like a tour for us, you know, to learn all those things. And finally, we going back to our source.
Yes.
Yeah. In yogic knowledge, we know we are not living creatures who lives only one life. Yeah. Because if you're looking in big scale, you will see this life doesn't mean nothing in big scale. Life, it continues, means something, it's evolution actually, right? So, and then we have this trip here to do what? To learn. To learn, to develop our path, how to go back to the source. Because if we don't go back to the source, we're coming back to learn again. And it's repeating, right? It's can be a million times, you know.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah. So, and this yoga, what we are using here, we call it Babaji Kriya yoga. Why? Because this yoga is given for humankind through saint, through Siddha, Babaji. This Babaji is mentioned in the Yogananda book, autobiography of yogi, right? And we have different exercises here for physical body, for our emotional side, for mental side, for our consciousness, and etc. But this is different story. It's very specific. All those techniques belongs to the Siddha tradition, and maybe not for all the people, but maybe for some of people who decide to start to use this path. But those steps, 5 steps before what I explained to you, those steps are for everyone who like to make significant changes in their life. Maybe they are not interested to reach ultimate goal of yoga. Maybe they just like to improve their own life, to make it much more better, more efficient, or to get rid of bad thoughts and different harmful memories or traumas and memories, something like that, right? It works well. So yoga, Babaji Kriya yoga is high-tech. I call it high-tech. I can't say it high-tech. It's not street yoga. It's not stretching, right? Because we have different pranayams, different dhyans, there mantra yoga, 144 different techniques, even samadhi techniques. Samadhi techniques means emerging to the God himself, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's very specific. Those techniques are very, very developed. They belong to the Siddha tradition. Siddha tradition is very old, thousands years old. And all those techniques are given by Siddhas. Siddha means one who become perfect, absolutely perfect. It's not that perfect what we can say here. As a humans, I have perfect life, perfect house, maybe work and other things. It's spiritual perfectness. Those people know nature personally, directly. It means they know laws of nature and then can rule those and guide and use those natural forces. And of course, they are emerged to the God himself. That's the reason why they are perfect. Yeah. And those techniques came from them. It's a very high source.
So you have your own journey to go to the source of Siddha traditions. Where did you found it?
You mean how Kriya Yoga came here?
To you?
To me? It was an interesting story. Before Babaji Kriya Yoga came here, we were practicing any kind of spiritual techniques here. Because I'm not a theoretical person, I'm a practical person, like engineer-minded.
Yeah.
And we used many different traditions, Osho and I don't even remember. Even Buddhist techniques, and I'm initiated to the Buddhists and other things, you know, everything was tasted before. But then in one day, my friend, one student, brought to me book, Babaji and 18 Siddha tradition. It was anthology. I read it, very interesting. It's very nice stories, you know, very excited stories. But there was 5 lines. We have 5 body system. Like physical body, vital body, mental body, intellectual body, and true self. I looked at I immediately understood what are those bodies. before, by my experience, I practiced a lot and making a lot of different discoveries for myself. But it was like pieces of mirrors, you know, they was there, everywhere, and they wasn't, how to say, they was separated, and that mirror wasn't whole. Mm-hmm. Only by reading those lines, all those mirrors become one. Every different experiences, knowledges, what I received become united. And I start to understand, okay, this is it, it belongs here, that belongs here. That map become united, it's become like whole map. Then, at the end of that book was address, and I asked my good friend and student to the connection to the true address and invite those people here who actually can teach Babaji Kriya Yoga, and then it started. Yeah. And through many years we learned with students all those techniques. Finally, I had a proposal to become Acharya. It means person who have permission to teach those techniques. Yes. Yeah, and to initiate people to those knowledges. Yeah, and Babaji Kriya Yoga is many years here. We have hundreds initiated people here, right?
And then there is also another type of yogas which belongs to your teachings. Example, Ishvarananda Yoga.
Yeah, Ishvarananda Yoga. I have a spiritual name, Ishvarananda. Because if you are initiated to the Babaji Kriya Yoga and you're receiving permission to teach, you become initiated. And then they're giving new spiritual name to you, right? And that name and permission was given by Sachidananda, who was holder of Siddha knowledge or all those techniques, and he receiving or giving permission to me, right? So, and what was your question?
Well, I was asking about those different yoga.
Yeah, I remember. Yeah, thank you. And this is like whole unit. It means one task for Acharya is to keep all those techniques in same way. Never change them, correct students if they start to make changes there, right? Because they are perfect techniques. So, but sometimes people need some additional knowledge, some additional practices to make changes in their lives. And that part, the students start to call Ishvarananda Yoga. Because it's not in the Kriya Yoga, it doesn't belong to the practical consciousness unit. It's like additional and can be, for example, connected to some different techniques. For example, how we can release demonic powers. Because in yoga knowledge, some of our sides of psychology are described like the demons, right?
Dark side of our.
Dark side, yes, but they are quite specific forces. I don't like to make scary things here, right? It means it's not that kind of demons, right? They are more like inner complexes. And some very specific detail was explained by me through many years, and etc. It's a lot of things, and students just call this is Ishvarananda Yoga.
Okay, and when we're thinking about this Ishvarananda Yoga, what is goal of it? What you try to achieve with it? Is it some kind of yoga between teacher and student, or What is it?
You mean how Ishvarananda Yoga help people?
Yes.
Directly. Directly means, like I said before, it's very, very important for students develop this ability to understand. And the development starts very, very slowly by learning what actually happens inside you. And we have actually incredible world inside us. But it's not just emotions and thoughts. We have dozens different subtle processes here or details. And I teach how to use those details to develop, for example, our energetical system or emotional system or mental system or even physical body, or how we can make flow of energy if some parts of our body have lack of energy, right, and etc. It's even don't know how much different details are given to the students. A lot of them, but all them using knowledge. It means it's like a practical detail of some structure. It's like engineered machine or something like that. And we're using additionally some natural forces, not only inside work, but we're using outside nature too. We have many temples here in Lilleorun with many different murtis. We call it murti. Murti means it's a statue with some weapons or animals or whatever. This is way how in ancient time wise people described natural forces. Yeah, all those details what are added to the statue actually is like a explanation of natural forces visually. And murtis are connected to the natural forces here, and it means they become like persons. It looks maybe a little bit strange what I'm talking now, but in yoga knowledge we know about consciousness, not our consciousness what we are using, but about that basic consciousness or consciousness what penetrating everything. We can call it space, ultimate space, what actually lying beyond the material world or even spiritual world, whatever how we call it. But in yoga we know this is part of God, because this space or consciousness are not influenced by nothing. And we know we're sharing this knowledge, or for example, your consciousness, my consciousness belongs to that big consciousness, but we're using only one part of it. And natural forces are based on same consciousness. That's the reason why they are like science, or why they are not stupid, you know, but they have some kind of natural laws. They're working by natural laws, but natural laws is knowledge. It means knowledge of consciousness. That's how God exposing His knowledge through natural forces. And that's the reason why those statues here, or murtis, are unconscious. And why people or students can use those statues to communicate with natural forces. Because we're living here in Earth, and we are influenced by natural forces very, very strongly. Yeah.
Yes, actually now we already started to touch this next topic, which is this beautiful large garden what you have built here with your students, and there is temple area in this garden, and so what is meaning and a purpose for this temple area? You already mentioned that, okay, there is those statues, murtis, which has own consciousness, and you can try to make a connection with it. Or so, can you tell a little bit more about it?
Yes, of course. Like I said, lot of us, physical body, emotions, even thoughts, even movement of consciousness are driven by natural forces. It means not only physical body are influenced, but all our life actually are influenced by natural forces. Even if you're looking at our physiological processes, it's natural forces and natural laws, right? What we're working here. Even the different situations around us, everything actually belongs to the nature, right? So, and sometimes this nature or those natural forces or laws of physics, whatever how we call, making some kind of constellations which are not good for our life. For example, they're making some obstacles, maybe some sicknesses, maybe some situations with others, and etc. Actually, they're making everything for us. And all the wise people, siddhas, they making research about all those influences, and they making like antidotes. It means they have technology how to make something or to do something to prevent or stop that not so good influences to us, to our lives. This is incredible knowledge. That's the reason why we have statues here. Those statues actually are connected to our life directly. In India, they have maybe, I don't know, 100,000 different statues. Different statues. It means ancient scientists giving some qualities of different natural forces to the different statues or murtis, right? But we have few here. We have Ganesh, for example. Ganesh is a natural force which actually means knowledge. Knowledge.
Yes.
Yeah. And Ganesh is known as a remover of obstacles. In India, they praying. It means you have connection to the murti or natural force. They pray to the Ganesh, please remove obstacles if I starting something or start to do it, to make it clear path, right? It's quite good, I think, so good idea behind it, right?
Really?
Yeah. Or we have, for example, Dakshinamurti. Dakshinamurti representing teacher or guru. Guru means teacher of teachers. It means this is one face or one part of God Himself, which teaching us, not only us, but everyone. It's not like teacher in the school, but it's something bigger. It's a principle of teaching, right? And that's the reason why we have it here, right? Or Hayagriva, for example. Hayagriva representing memory of all universe. It means everything what happens, that guy just writing it down and keeping all this knowledge in. It's not in the bookstore, but in bibliothèque.
Yeah, library.
Library, right? Library. Yeah, and he is a principle who keeping all those things right there. It means from the beginning of everything till to this time, this moment, and this knowledge is huge, right? Then we have Agastya. Agastya is Mahasiddha and Rishi. He established Siddha tradition. He's very important a person he is not natural force. He was human, right? Then we have one Siddha statue. It's an old Hierophant Babaji statue. He was Siddha. He lived in last century. Yeah, and I know some yogis who knows him, and they said they're meditating with old Baba in the Himalayas, and he was great Siddha with supernatural forces and etc. Then we have Ishvara temple. This is biggest temple here. Ishvara means, in yogic terms, reality, what exists, or existing reality. Because, why existing reality? Because reality can be recognized, whatever, visible, invisible, but beyond reality, where the real God lives, or we call it Shiva, there is no objects, we cannot manage nothing there. This is like non-existing area. But this is God actually, right? So, and Ishvara is that border. And not only border, but he is everything that exists. It's quite difficult to imagine it because it's not possible. But he actually, it's highest ruler and controller, highest. It means he controlling everything what actually happens in objective world. But objective world is not only our physical world, right? It's invisible too. By physics we know it's a lot of phenomena we cannot see, right? And that temple is created here for one purpose. Just go through this temple. And he decide to take something away from your past, your karma, or results of your life or not. That's the reason why people don't pray in this temple. They don't meditate, they're nothing, just going, passing through. It's like, this is just additional imagination. For example, if you imagine some who are ruler, everything sitting there, and you're just passing, he just looking you, and next. Why it's created here? Because not all people can meditate, and not all people can release emotions or make kriya yoga. This is too difficult to them, but to go through temple, they can do it, right? Because it's open place and everyone can actually use it. It's for help of people. It's not for fun here, or it doesn't mean we believe something here. Like I said, we are practical, but maybe it's very difficult to understand what or accept what I'm talking, because normal people don't go so deep to the knowledge and understanding, right? So,
example for me, who is living in the middle of forest in nature, it's for me it's easier to understand that there is consciousness in nature, but somehow it's not so easy to accept that in statue there is consciousness.
Yes, of course.
But it is there, and how it has came there.
You know, if you look in forest, it's living part of life.
Yes.
Yeah, it's so simple to understand. It's a life. And the life cannot be exist without consciousness. It's not possible, right? But if you're looking at trees, you will see they grow. They plant themselves by themselves, right? But about statues, how statues are connected to the natural forces? Statue is just stone at the beginning, right? Stone which one are carved by shaped, by artists, right. But through some kind of processes, old processes, life or consciousness become invited to the statue.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's its inauguration. Yeah, they become inaugurated because this knowledge existing. Yeah, even in Vedic knowledge, for example, maybe in different traditions. I don't know exactly. Maybe in Tibetan Buddhism or something somewhere there. And that means actually after this inauguration, that statue become alive, or consciousness and the specific part of nature coming in. That's the reason why it's become holy.
Yeah. In this way, when thinking about, I have always thinking about when reading old books. Sometimes it's even can be here that author is telling about what is in that book, and this author has put his soul and energy to there, his consciousness.
Right, absolutely right.
And then we can have a more holistic experience and holistic understanding from that book or maybe sculptor.
It's actually a very good example. It's excellent example. Yeah, you're absolutely right. If really, even doesn't thought about that, you give very good idea to explain, because people asking sometimes how they are alive, and yeah, because people read books, oh, they become one, you know, they become excited. It's really, yeah, you're right. You're right.
Well, thanks.
Thank you.
So then we have talking about charity work, which is also so-called karma yoga. And karma yoga is a common part in many spiritual traditions. And how about here in Lilleorun, does it have a role also in your students' life?
Karma yoga belongs always to the spiritual life, always to the yoga. And we need to discern what is volunteering and what is karma yoga. Volunteering is people or humans who like to help to do something, right? But karma yoga means you doing something and you releasing some your emotions or thoughts. It's like cleaning process. Whatever you do, you cleaning your psychology away, always away, always away, always away. Any ideas, it's because what is karma? Karma is not only our life, but karma lives inside us. It's our thoughts, emotions, complexes, memory, believings, whatever kind of things, because if we are using all those things, we're making things outside, right? Making some consequences. Reasons are here, consequences is there, sometimes inside too, right? And this is releasing process. Sometimes karma yoga can be very, very hard, right? But not because to make sufferings to the humans, no. To activate some sleeping demons in our system and release them, to become free from them, yeah. Karma yoga is a very important part, right? But it's not volunteering. Volunteering is different thoughts, right? Different idea behind it.
Okay, good to know. Good to know. So, when we're thinking about the kind of ultimate goal of your teachings, and what you think about it, what is that ultimate goal for a student whom has chosen to enter this path? What you are giving them? So, what is ultimate goal?
Ultimate goal is emerging with God. Emerging with God can be in two ways. it have two inputs or outputs, how I call it. It's not don't matter anymore there. First is emerging and staying with him. Second, emerging and going back to do things, not the personal things, but things what are given by him.
Well, so when we're talking about that final enlightenment, what is those previous steps when we entering into final enlightenment?
Here's many different steps. Maybe it's important to understand what is enlightenment, because it looks by this word, meaning of word, it's connected to the light somehow, but actually not. Enlightenment always, first steps of enlightenment means always, oh, I start to understand. It's explained by this example. If you're living in the darkness, you don't see nothing, you're just living somehow you can with closed eyes, right? This is usual situation of us. And now your eyes open or light coming to this room and you start to see, oh, what are those things here, right?
You get inner insights.
It's not insights. It's consciousness.
Okay.
You become conscious.
Yes.
That witness about what we are taught before. You start to witnessing or become witnessing. Yeah, you start to observe. But observing is like half of wake-upping. Second part, which need to be added here, otherwise it's just 50%, right, is understanding. Wake up and start to understand. This is first enlightenment state. And now you start to receive knowledge because you start to understand. Ability to understand is not always, oh, I understand everything now. It's very rare. Basically, or common for this is you start to receive knowledge piece by piece. And you start to collect it, right? Then if you're going further, you start to understand that everything is knowledge, pure knowledge and energy. And then if you become contemplated with it, it's the next step of enlightenment. Then you start to understand everything is one. Then you contemplate with it. Then you start to feel, I am everything. This is next step. Then you start to understand, oh, I'm everything, but I'm everything. Then you start to understand what is beyond everything, that phenomenal world. Then you start to understand, oh, I am emptiness, I'm basic consciousness. It's actually emptiness. Then if you're receiving emptiness and you become emptiness, then you start to understand, I'm emptiness, but it's no sense. Because nothing has sense anymore, right? Then if you're lucky, you take a new step. Then you start to understand, wow, everything is love. And it can be very dangerous, even it's very, very high development, spiritual development. Dangerous, why? You can stuck there. But if you are lucky, you don't stucking there. Then you're taking next step. Next step is, oh, light, everything is light. White light, or absolutely transparent light, what is darkness. Or next step is absolutely golden light. Everything is gold. And that's a very good place, because God lives here, and the Siddhas lives here, or saints lives here, all natural forces lives here. It's like, I would say, it's like different world, different dimension. Everything happens from this side. And if you're lucky, you can go over this side too. Then you start to understand exists only one God. And this God is everything. but it's absolute stillness, a movement. Maybe here some steps more, I don't know today. Yeah.
Well, this is very nicely put it, and sometimes I have a thought that when you was telling about those different steps, that it's kind of pieces what is not connected each other's yet, but this love is something which connect those pieces together.
Yes, this is ultimate love. Ultimate love is not made from us or by us. If some person start to recognize love what or which coming through accepting true self, then it's first moment for a person who can feel love of God to him. This is said that God loves me. This love is not created by individual, right? And if people can stay here, they can find out they are totally protected. They are never ever alone. Aloneness is a very big problem in our world, right? But it's not that. It's not all. You can go deeper, like I explained before, right? And then you can understand finally. Last question: who is the God? And you can say, God is love. Not God loving me, but God is love.
Yes.
Yeah, we cannot explain by words what it is because it's undescribable. But we can sense this love.
Well, this is almost ending point for this interview, but perhaps you have still some last words for anyone who is thinking to attend your basic course here in Lilleorun. So, do you have some advices for those people who is thinking to come here for your thesis?
Yes, why not? We have some registering form on our website, and everyone can come. Actually, our courses are arranged like first and second course. First is five-body system. It means it's actually map and compass, how we can orientate in our inner world. And second day you learn a lot of things about how we can release emotions. And if some can read book in English, it would be very good support before and after, because this book are concentrated. They're talking always about emotions, not about our five-body system, right? Yeah, it's simple actually. Just register yourself, and everything is like a system in the modern websites, right?
How about those courses which is kept in Lilleorun? Are they only spoken in Estonian language, or are there also English language courses?
Here we have Estonian language courses, but we have very good persons who translated it to the English or German or even Macedonian if people like, and we have some people who can translate to the Finnish too.
Yes, and in this point we have to remember that in Ultra Days there will be one of your students, and she will be teaching some parts of your teachings.
You know, we can actually arrange some Finnish people to take courses from my students who have permission to teach those things. She is teacher too, in Finnish, maybe even in Finland, not in Estonia.
We are waiting that. So, thank you for an interview, and it was very big honor to meet you and have a dialogue with you. And So, thank you.
Thank you for coming and taking interview. Thank you.
Thank you.